long since I've done a live stream, but I guess it's only been like what, a week? Not even? Well, yeah, a week. Every Monday we do the live streams. So yeah, if you guys have noticed throughout the live streams, I've been trying to kind of find like a topic that I think is going to kind of cater to everyone, like a topic that everybody would love. So for today's episode or live stream, I do want to talk about, it's kind of like a two-sided question. And I just kind of made the title very vague because just for that reason, I wanted to be kind of like, look on both sides of the coin, if that makes sense. What I want to talk about today is whether, first of all, and I'm probably going to repeat it a couple times throughout the live stream as people come in. My question is, would you stop cruising if the cruise lines got rid of all the vaccine mandates and all the health and safety protocols in regards to COVID and just overall the pandemic? And then on the flip side of that, I want to hear everybody's response as far as, would you still cruise if they decide to go the other way and now require boosters in order for people to sail? So I figured it'd be a cool conversation to have. Why not? KC, what's going on? Here, let me go ahead and go down to the comments too while everybody's getting in here. And then, of course, as you guys are coming in, please hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. I feel like I made the camera too high. I might have to lower it in a minute, but if not, I think it's all good, whatever. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Guys, if you can give me a thumbs up. Okay, cool, they do hear me. I appreciate it. Hey, my girlfriend's here, Lauren. Hey. Yep, so like I said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started in like maybe 2 minutes. Let's let some people get in here and then we'll go ahead and start the live stream. And of course, I will repeat the questions. Trying to catch up to your videos, just got off the escape. Yeah, I had a couple days where I didn't do a video, so there's like 1 or 2 videos, I think, something like that. So, or depending on how long you've been on the escape. How was it, by the way? I've been on the escape since I worked on that ship. Thumbs up. Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. Just trying to make sure I can hear everybody. And how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing all right. It's, that time of year, I was sick, literally, like from Monday up until now. I'm just like recovering. It got super cold here one day. It was like 28 degrees or something like that. And I decided to go outside like back and forth, no shoes, no shirt. And then it rained the next day. And then it got hot. I was as sick as a dog. I could barely even walk. I tried to go to the gym, tried to go to practice. It didn't work out at all. So yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, we got a decent amount of people in here. So like I said, guys, this is literally like just like a two-sided question because I am curious, like as far as what would make people stop cruising, because something that I've seen throughout like the past, I don't know, throughout this pandemic really, especially in regards to the vaccine, I've seen people on both sides of the spectrum just trying to figure out what it would take them to not cruise. Like what would be like the I don't know, deciding factor. Now, would it be on one end, maybe the cruise line is getting rid of the vaccine mandates and all the other stuff that you need, the testings and all those requirements? Or would you be okay with that? Or on the other hand, if cruise lines require boosters, how would you feel about that situation? Because I've been seeing a lot of mixed comments, literally every video that I post. Just got back from Freedom of the Seas. Ghosty, yeah, I saw your pictures, man. I hope you look like you had a good cruise. I can't wait for mine. Actually, I don't even know the days. Either way, March 4th, I'll be on Wonder. After Midnight was pretty good. I know, I gotta go back and see that show. I got friends on board right now. Let's see, I'm not stopping, counting down to my last 40 days. Nice. What ship are you going on? So yeah, guys, I want to hear your responses. Like, if they eliminated all the restrictions and COVID protocols and health and safety protocols, would you still cruise? Or if they implemented the boosters, because I feel like at this point, like Royal Caribbean had recently announced that they could potentially require boosters in order to sail. It's possibly on the pipeline or coming down the pipeline, depending on how things go with COVID. F the boosters. I won't cruise till they remove all shots, masking requirements. Get rid of the vaccines. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people weighing more on the side of they're kind of over it. They want to be able to get essentially what they paid for and have an actual cruising experience, especially those out there that have cruised regularly up until the pandemic. Let's see, I have 2 cruises booked this year. Would cancel both if boosters were required. Yeah, I do understand. I completely understand the situation with the boosters, especially considering how you have things that are so confusing now. Like I said, you got some places, especially over in Europe, that are completely dropping, for the most part, essentially all of their COVID protocols. Now, I'm sure in a couple weeks we'll get like some data and information as far as how that has worked out. But there are also some people that are still fearful of everything going on, and they believe the boosters should be in effect and they should be implemented cruise industry wide. I'm okay with the boosting and the testing. I'm both. It's just the nerve wracking when you're taking a test. I'm going on Oasis on Sunday, and I got to take this test, and I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Anytime I have an international flight or I have like a cruise, and you got to test either 48 hours prior or on embarkation day at the terminal. Like I went with that with Virgin. They had the testing all done right there that same day, and I was so nervous. I'm like, okay, what if I do test positive? What if it's a false positive? How do they handle those types of situations? You know, it's one of those things that honestly, with people being, let's say with Omicron especially, asymptomatic, you got to wonder if you're going to test positive, because if you do, that's literally your, maybe not your money gone. They'll give you a refund just because of how they're operating right now, but you're not taking your cruise. So I can understand you being nervous. Wanda, I'll stop cruising if ... Nah, I'm cruising. I don't blame you. Got my booster in October. Nothing will stop my fun. I like it. I like it. I would go no problem. Got unvaccinated friends that are waiting for them to drop everything. Yeah. Like one thing I've definitely noticed is that a lot of people, and I wouldn't go as far as to say maybe half, but I don't know the exact numbers. It could be like half of the population, half of the cruising population is just not cruising because either they haven't gotten vaccinated or they don't believe in the health and safety protocols that the cruise lines are implementing. Or maybe it's to a sense that they don't want to cruise, pay what they would normally pay for a cruise just to have all these restrictions being implemented. Excuse me, let me go down here. If a test is false positive, what then? If somebody has gone through that particular situation, if anybody can let me know, I would assume that maybe you could request a second test, a secondary test. I would assume. I personally, if I test positive and I felt fine, I would be a little, like, not frustrated, but I would want them to do a second test. Like, literally let me get some confirmation before my vacation is ruined. I'm assuming that's what they've done, but if anybody has gone through that, maybe tested positive on embarkation day or at a cruise port, let me know, because I'm really curious about that. Got to keep in mind that the mask and distancing are a joke on cruises. No faith in that. Required boosters. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, depending on the mask, because they are changing things now, social distancing and all that stuff, we've come to find out that all that stuff was essentially arbitrary. Like, yeah, there is some backing behind staying away from people, but on a cruise in particular, people are naturally going to be socializing. You know what I mean? It's not like in the street where I'm going to Walmart or Publix and I'm just kind of getting my food and going about my merry way. Usually people that are on cruises are extremely social. If it's not maybe a stranger, be it their social groups that they came there with, they're going to socialize, they're going to be in close contact. So yes, social distancing. I just personally, as somebody that has been on 4 cruises with 4 different lines, the social distancing rule is something that is almost, actually it is impossible on cruises, guaranteed. Let's see, cruising at 82 days and boosted already, not stopping me. River cruise, nice. Everybody's obsessed with these river cruises. I gotta take one, I really do. I've noticed even on YouTube, I was gonna make a video about it. People, whenever somebody puts out a river cruise, the views is absolutely insane. I know people like river cruises, but I didn't think there was such a demand and curiosity for the topic. Question, do you think by mid-March they will either make testing 3 days or get rid of testing? I don't know about March. I mean, of course, obviously we do have spring literally right around the corner, and you got cruise lines like NCL basically stating that they're gonna have their entire fleet out. Now, one thing that I talked about in my video today, if you guys didn't see it, which you should, I'd really appreciate it. It goes like a real big support for my channel. But for March 1st, I think it's gonna be a very big day, because you're gonna have the Union of Address by President Biden, and there's a lot of talk, a lot of speculation that he could come out and basically announce that they're gonna either drop mandates or more than likely ease them, which maybe a couple weeks later, I'm assuming that'd be the timeline, because cruise lines are gonna follow whatever is happening on land. They could start dropping some restrictions. It's just, it's hard to determine which ones. Is there a particular VPN you're sponsored by? Surfshark VPN, Surfshark. Now, my channel isn't sponsored. I do sponsor videos for them, that's it. And I use it as well. It's a good VPN to have for any VPN, especially if you travel. I won't cruise until they stop all vaccine testings and masks. Yeah, and I don't think like a lot of people will put these types of topics when people are saying they don't want to cruise with all the regulations. Some people will say it's just somebody being selfish or whatever the case is. Personally, for me, if you're going to spend your own money, potentially hundreds, more than likely thousands of dollars, depending on your cruise, I don't blame the people that don't want to cruise because they want their cruise experience how they want their cruise experience to be and not have all these rules and protocols that they have to follow. These new protocols are driving people nuts, but it's necessary. Is it? I mean, if you look at everything going on with Omicron, I spoke today about Royal Caribbean, and I'm assuming it's probably somewhat of the same line with other cruise lines. They have not had anybody been hospitalized throughout all of this, throughout the whole Omicron scene and situation. Things have been relatively good. You've had people with mild symptoms and stuff, and that's amongst the crew, which downstairs, yes, they have COVID protocols that they have to follow, but trust me when I tell you, there's going to be social gatherings with the crew, whether they're allowed to or not. They're going to find a way. Let's see. NCL's policy on positive tests is that you can get a second test if negative. It's up to the ship doctor. Assume similar on other lines. Hold on. Okay. Got you. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Like I said, I would assume they would have implemented some kind of policy to where if you do test positive, you can get a second test to make sure to kind of clarify and confirm. Because obviously, as most of you know, I've had a false positive too, and these tests aren't exactly 100% accurate, especially when you're talking about the rapid tests that they're doing on board these ships. On top of that, a lot of these places are hiring third-party testers that I'm not saying they're not qualified, but there are plenty of things that can go wrong, even with these machines that they have that are testing. And this is me just after talking to some of the testers, not doctors, the testers on board some of these Royal Caribbean ships that are working for these third-party companies. Will not cruise until cruise lines make vaccine protocols completely clear. Also, not until I know that we're able to get off the ship and frolic in every scheduled port. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine, obviously, with the potential for port cancellations and restrictions, maybe they can go back to like the bubble excursions. All that stuff is definitely not off of the table. How do people get COVID on the ship when they were vaccinated and a negative test? Well, I mean, there is also, I wouldn't say the effectiveness of the vaccines. However, it's already been kind of put out that the vaccines have somewhat of a shelf life. Like if you got, depending on the vaccine as well, if you got vaccinated like when vaccines first came out, they may not have the same effectiveness as they did prior to when you first got it. So maybe that could be why. And there are also, of course, obviously people that are fully vaccinated that are still catching Omicron because it's kind of like, you know, dodging around the vaccine. Yeah, social distancing is lame for masks. Is lame as for masks. They say only indoor and outside crowded places. All spaces outside are crowded. Yeah, I mean, now given the ships aren't as packed as they normally are. If you've been on a cruise ship between now and like June, July of last year, most of the time you can see that the ships are pretty much empty. I was surprised. The only ship that I saw that had, I guess, a lot of people would have been the Carnival Mardi Gras for their inaugural sailing. I believe Carnival at the time was sailing like 70% occupancy, and they got a lot of backlash for that too. However, I enjoyed my cruise because we didn't have to wear masks. Everybody was vaccinated. I had no complaints whatsoever. Hey Jay, any tips for somebody starting to work on a cruise? I would say right now, for the most part, I know cruise lines probably, if they are hiring, they're hiring at a slower pace. And chances are, since there's so many crew members that are kind of sitting idle, potentially at home or wherever it is, getting their paperwork done, they're probably going to get the rehires before they hire a bunch of new people, especially during this COVID era where there's a bunch of protocols and honestly a lot of confusion. And then there is the possibility where you could see a situation where I've talked about this before. Usually when you see a lot of new crew members, there is always the possibility if it's their first time on a ship, they may not enjoy the experience. I've seen people go on the ship for the first time and then a week, a month, a couple months in, they're like, yeah, I can't do this. I got to go home. I've seen people as soon as like a day, like 2 days after being on the ship, they get seasick or whatever the case is, or they don't like the environment, they don't like the room, and they end up going home. So it's more cost effective for the cruise lines to keep who they have. And if they're going to hire people, rehire people that are already there, or at least on the docket, you know, that have already been there. Jay, is there a good way to contact you directly? I have all my contacts in the description box, so you can contact me via email, and my Instagram is on there as well, and my Facebook group, which you guys should join. It's free. You can contact me on any one of those. And I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Like I get literally dozens and dozens of emails and texts and messages every single day. So guys, for those that do reach out to me, I appreciate all of you and I apologize, but Obviously, I do have like a regular life outside of here too, and I try to like make at least an hour or two a day to kind of get to all the messages, but obviously some things just get caught up. Since last video, you look so much better. Great to see. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm back in the gym, going to practice tonight. I go to Mexico on Wednesday, which I'm really excited. I'll be out there for about a week. I got to get some dental work done, and I got a competition out there, so I'm excited. Yes, thank you, Tom. Guys, please smash that like button if you were just joining in. We got 181 people. Hit that like button. Let's get to, I don't know, 300. Isn't that what our normal is? Get to 300 likes throughout at some point during this live stream. Let's see. You can get it because you are in an incubated period. Yeah, test negative, but then test positive a couple days later. Yeah, and then the incubation period is just in such a weird state of flux, right? We've already seen the CDC director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, come out and say that you could, even if you have had COVID, maybe you didn't know, you can test positive like literally still weeks after having COVID. So I mean, it's hard to even navigate through that. The cruise lines are still, obviously, just like everywhere else, even on land, they're still trying to figure out what the heck to do because there's so many things, and it's not. I would not blame the CDC. Obviously, we know science and data and information changes so quickly. But I'll be honest with you guys though. It would be nice to hear somebody for once, even a medical professional, just straight up say we don't know, as opposed to confirming things and just to have it change a couple weeks later or even a week later. Let me see. You can't blame the crew given what they have to go through. Yeah. I know I talk about this stuff a lot, and a lot of people might think I'm like a Debbie Downer when I talk about what's going on with the crew, but I talk to the crew regularly, like people that I've worked with already, and the crew that I've gone to become friends with throughout the pandemic that have reached out to me, that I continue to stay in contact with on literally every single ship for the most part, with every main cruise line. I hear all this stuff. Let's see, does anybody know if there's still no smoking in the casinos on Carnival? I know you don't smoke, Jay, but it'd be off topic. Actually, no, I had that problem for years. And I'm ashamed to say it, but I do have the occasional cigarette every now and then. I've been stopping just because of what happened with my dad. Obviously, if there wasn't a bigger motivation, then obviously, you know, like I can't think of a better time to stop, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I'm like a social drinker, social smoker kind of guy. Like you will never see me like beer in my house because I'm somebody that'll drink and smoke and stuff when I go out. But either way, I'm just cutting back on all of that. Maybe, no, the smoking, not the drinking. I do like a good margarita or pina colada, especially when I'm traveling on a ship. Excuse me, let me see. Jay, you're cruising in a few weeks. What will be the protocol for your sailing? Give me 1 second. Cody, I just realized we got into the conversation about smoking, but yes. Oh, somebody just answered. There'll be no smoking in the, hold on, let me see if we can go back down. I'll scroll back up in a minute. The no smoking casino is due to the mask mandates. I would expect the two to go away together. I thought they only implemented that for January. I mean, unless I'm wrong, I thought that was supposed to, unless it got extended, I thought the smoking in casinos, as well as like with Carnival, they implemented a whole bunch of like stoppages. Like they even stopped like the disembarkation or the signing on and signing off for crew members. I thought all of that ended. I'll have to look into that. You can't blame the, oh, okay, let's see. Let me catch back up with cruising. What will be the protocols for your sailing? I think as of right now, it's still the same with Royal Caribbean. Yes, you have to be vaccinated, especially because the ship will be sailing over to the Bahamas. So you have to be fully vaccinated, and then you have to test 48 hours prior to your sailing. Now, whenever I get all the details, I will definitely let all of you guys know for my sailing on Wonder of the Seas, and then I'll just let all of you guys know from there. Wow, Mexico sounds super, Jay. Yeah, I'm not happy about the fact that I got to go to the dentist. I need some major dental work, guys. It's so bad. It's going to be a lot of money, a lot less than if I had paid here in the U.S., but I hate the dentist. They're going to have to put me to sleep because I can't deal with the Novocaine, and no, it's just not fun. I got my wisdom teeth removed like a couple years ago, like in 2019 or at the end of 2019, start of 2020. Oh man, I didn't feel it, but I felt it. I didn't feel the pain, but I felt them cutting into my gums and stuff, and never again, never again. Let me see here. I love to go back to Cabo this year. You should. I love Mexico. I love Mexico with a passion. Mexico is such an underrated place, depending on where you go, obviously. Like I wouldn't recommend somebody go to like a Tijuana, but obviously if you go to like the Yucatan, you go to Cozumel, if you go to Quintana Roo, Cabo, obviously, it's good places to visit. I could live there, honestly. If it wasn't for my son being here in the U.S., I'd live in Mexico, hands down. You see, will the mandates go away? We'll have to see. Obviously, they are definitely gonna lag behind any any regulations, any rules and protocols that are going to be implemented on land, I would always just say keep an eye out for everything that's going on. Like me personally, as somebody that travels internationally, and thankfully my girlfriend Lauren, she's French too, I can stay in the loop of everything that's going on in other parts of the world. So it's hard to say. I would like to see all the protocols and rules and regulations. For the most part, as long as we stay on this decline, it'd be nice to see everything get back to somewhat normal by summertime. Now, I don't know if the cruise lines would say people that aren't vaccinated can cruise. You know, that's still to be determined. But the testing, it would be nice to see that go away. I mean, if everybody's vaccinated, I don't see why people have to, test. That's just me personally. Let's see. I heard they were making 2 casinos, one non and one smoking. Well, so if you go on the Mardi Gras, for example, especially the newer ships, they do have a smaller area that's non-smoking, a small part of the casino. I do enjoy a cig from time to time, cutting down. Yeah, but me being like the dancer and somebody that likes to stay in shape too, I feel like I got to go full circle. I can't just, be unhealthy in one area and not the, what I mean? Everybody's going to have their bad habits, but that's not one that I want to continue to keep, especially because I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's taking a toll on my teeth. So smoking, got to go. Let's see, Justin, how are you? Sorry I'm late. I was cooking dinner. Well, look, what are you cooking? Did you make enough for the class? Is there enough for me? Because I'm hungry, to be honest with you. Thank you very much for that information. Have a cruise on the Vista in April. I'm looking forward to April. I'll be on the Margaritaville at sea. So I'll be on the inaugural sailing for that too. I'm so excited. When you worked at sea, what were some unwritten rules that you had to follow? As far as like the cruise line goes, or are you asking me like as far as amongst the crew? Let me know. Yeah, there were definitely plenty of unspoken rules. Can we keep this non-political? When do we get political, Steve? Apologize if we did, but I don't think I said anything that was political. Maybe it's a conversation that I haven't, a comment that I haven't got to yet, but I apologize. Yeah, I try to keep this as unbiased as I can. Unfortunately, I say all the time, the pandemic has gotten extremely political. And it's kind of hard to even navigate through the conversation. But I believe when it comes to this, I know a lot of people will typically say that people shouldn't be talking about this if they're not a doctor, if they're not a scientist. However, I do believe that when something is affecting everyone's life, as a whole, I do believe that it makes sense for people to have the conversation, and they're allowed to have the conversation. Like for me, it affects my business. It affects my ability to do something that I love, and I'd be depressed otherwise. I love traveling. It affects people. So I believe that everybody should be able to have the conversation. Just make sure they get as much valid and factual information as they can when they're having the conversation. But naturally, everybody's going to have their opinions on how they're viewing this entire pandemic. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's unfortunate that it's gotten political, but the conversations are going to have to be had. Multiple crew told me that living conditions were horrendous when there weren't passengers on board. And they said they were so happy for us on board just to be able to be out of their cabins. Yeah, I mean, every cruise line definitely did things differently. Now, if you look at even the start of the pandemic, the problem was, and they got a lot of cruise lines got scrutiny, like seeing what happened, which was basically the catalyst for all this. Look at the Diamond Princess. Everybody was trying to figure out why exactly there were so many cases on board the Diamond Princess. Now, I did talk about this. I'll probably make a dedicated video whenever this pandemic is over, talking about the whole timeline of Princess and how all of this started. But we come to find out, like after a bunch of studies and research, that essentially the reason that there were so many cases, over 700 cases on board, which is unheard of at the time, was due to the way they handled the health and safety protocols on board ships. Because typically pre-pandemic, whenever you go on a cruise and there was something that would happen, like a GI outbreak or something of that nature, they would usually, if it was just amongst the passengers, they would quarantine the passengers, and the crew would be the last people because obviously they got to keep the ship working and moving. They would wait until the last possible second. So what would happen is you had a bunch of crew members that were running around all over the place, unfortunately affecting other people with COVID. And this is OG original COVID. They were affecting other people. And then when they actually ended up getting all the passengers off, basically what happened, which, I mean, I understand it, but it just sucked things went down the way that they did. they let the crew kind of have the ship for themselves. There were a lot of crew members that for the first time ever, they were allowed to go on flow rider on board their Royal Caribbean ships. They were allowed to pretty much do whatever it is that they wanted on board ships that they couldn't do otherwise because they always had passengers. However, we ended up seeing situations where a bunch of crew members ended up contracting the original COVID that was extremely deadly, and it was wreaking havoc all over the place. Then you had crew members transferring. It was a giant mess at the beginning. Let me see here. Unwritten rules among the crew. Well, it's kind of one of those things that you don't, like, let's say people are hooking up. Somebody's got a ship bae, right? They got a girlfriend or boyfriend, and they got a husband or wife back at home. Everybody shuts up. Everybody knows, because the ship is literally just like a giant gossip land. And that's all people are doing is talking, but nobody like really puts it out there. Nobody lets anybody know, like, oh, he's got a wife, he's got a girlfriend or whatever back at home. That was one of the biggest things. You don't talk about it ever. I'm trying to think of what else. If somebody was doing drugs or something like that on the ship, it was another thing that was just kind of like hush hush. But mainly a lot of things really revolved around friendships and like hooking up and drinking and stuff like that. It was kind of like, don't ever rat somebody out. I mean, that's kind of like the law of the land. Don't snitch. No snitching. Bro, you're the most unbiased person on YouTube. I don't know about that, but I just try to look at everything objectively. I believe both sides need to be looked at. Obviously, I'm going to have my own opinion because you got to stand for something or fall for anything. But I do try to look at both sides of the coin for everything. And I see a lot of people will say I'm negative a lot of the times, but looking at both sides, I look at the reality of everything as well. I think it's very important. We should never like get to a point to where we're like, oh, this is my view and nothing's going to change it. I mean, and obviously part of that is from me traveling. I've been to 57 countries, and it's like I've learned so much along the way, and I'm thankful for it. It changed my entire life, because I'm telling you, I used to be one of the most ignorant people you'll ever meet, and I'm humbled. I really am. This entire pandemic has been a complete mess due to politics. You can't avoid it completely. I agree. That's what I'm saying. The conversation definitely 100% has to be had. It sucks that people bring politics and biases into the whole situation. I get it. People are going to have their opinions on it, but I believe some things that don't make sense at times should also be looked at, as opposed to people being safe too. Because I definitely have my beliefs. You guys know I have my beliefs when it comes to the COVID situation. It's also the same reason why during this whole pandemic, I never stopped traveling. There was a point where a lot of people got mad at me, even on this channel. They got mad at me for going to visit my girlfriend during the pandemic. And I'm just like, yeah, we don't know how long this is going on. It's not illegal for me to go. I got 3 tests on the way, and people were saying I should be in jail for potentially getting others sick. Now, this is pre-vaccine too. But I'm just like, what sense does that make? You're telling me that I should stop seeing somebody who's potentially going to be my wife for years? What if we broke up? I wasn't going to risk that. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. Doesn't make sense. But I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Let's see, do you think it's a bad time for the first-time cruisers with all the regulations? Yes, I've been very clear about that. That's the reason why I haven't brought my son on a cruise for the first time. I don't want his first experience to be masking up and just a few people. Like, I'm a social person. I believe that part of the cruising experience, as nice as it is to see people that are like, as nice as it is to have basically a cruise by yourself. There were a couple ships that I was on, like before it was Margaritaville at sea, going on Bahamas Paradise, there were 100 people on board. I had the entire ship to myself. While it was nice to be able to do the things that I wanted to do, and I imagine if this was on a mega ship, to not have a line for flow rider or to see the shows or to go to a specialty dining restaurant, I believe the people make it what it is. So let me see, just like the Navy, what goes on deployment stays on deployment. Yeah. Now, given it's crazier with the military for sure. Crazy. Wise words from Big Man Jay. I'm actually short. If you guys ever meet me, one thing that I see about a lot of people, they thought I was taller. Guys, I'm 5'6" and a half. All right, but I'm celebrity height, as I always say. I'm not super short, but I'm not tall either by any means. But look. I'm a lot of fun. I got a lot of energy. That's all that matters. Celebrity height, celebrity status. Well, no, not really. I'm not famous, but you get what I'm saying. Let's see. I love the vaccinated cruises, never overcrowded. That's what I'm saying. But for me, I'm a social butterfly. All right. Well, we need something a little bit more like, I don't know, a social eagle. There we go. Like I need people. I like people. I get bored otherwise. Let me see, boost mass continuing and the cost of getting so high that our family can't afford to sail. Yeah, And I think obviously, if it's the cost is high for the passengers, it's definitely eating into the profits for the cruise lines too. Which, excuse me, it's like a snowball effect. If things are gonna get more expensive for the passengers, that means things are getting more expensive for the cruise line. Excuse me. Excuse me. Cruise lines as well. So, sorry guys, I'm just like recovering from being sick. I'm still like kind of dehydrated and stuff. Again, it's a vaccination topic, but someone doing the Brandon comment unnecessary. Oh, that's what you mean for politics. Yeah, I agree. Everybody, let's try to keep this, as unbiased as possible. Shinebox. I like the name. Shinebox. You guys think, I don't know. Something just automatically popped into my head as soon as you said Shinebox. Thank you for the $10 super chat. I enjoy your show. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Look, these people are getting me closer to my first ever drink package. I'm ready for it. Bring it on. Let's see. Okay, no, this is directed to me. Cruise prices are dirt cheap right now. Prime time to go. Yeah. I mean, it's a prime time to go, but it's also a prime time to book. So, who is this Terrence Barker? He says, bro, sounding crazy. Stop rambling. Mask up so we can all get through this. What? Terrence, come on now. What am I rambling about, first of all? Because we can go into this conversation if you want, in a respectful way, but what am I rambling about? Who is this guy? Anyway, no, I have no problem if you want to have the conversation, man. I've never seen you before, but if you want to talk and state your case, what am I rambling about? The people have been saying this stuff for 2 years now. Mask up, it's the only way to get through this. The reality is you're not going to get, I've said this before, it is impossible for you to get every single person in the world to follow every rule. The lay of the land. That has never, ever been a situation. Never. So, I mean, if you don't like what I'm saying, man, you can leave, or if you want to have a conversation, I'm all here for it. I'm here for it. Do you think the Carnival ecstasy or sensation will end up going to the Bahamas Paradise? That is an interesting question. I mean, I don't know. It depends. It depends on how much money Margaritaville has in the bank. I think that depends. And who knows? They could have gotten a pretty lucrative deal with Margaritaville. There's no telling. Either Margaritaville reached out to them and proposed a deal and maybe gave them a little bit of money for their refurbishment of what was the Grand Classica, or it could have worked the other way around where, let's say, Bahamas Paradise wanted to rejuvenate the brand, renew it, and they reached out to Margaritaville and saw them as like a likely prospect to maybe work something out. So, I went on, hold on. Sorry, guys. Lost my place here. Sorry, Steve. Thank you for the $2 super chat. And I apologize for whoever talking about politics and stuff for making things political. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. One step closer to the drink package for Wonder of the Seas. Excuse me. I went on Bahamas Paradise before. It was definitely a different experience. I'm looking forward to Margaritaville. I really am. I think it's going to be fun. And I'm assuming it's going to be more than 100 people this time than when I went on. I even said it, you guys, if you saw my videos from Margaritaville, or I'm stuck in, it's in my head now. If you saw my videos from Bahamas Paradise, you'll saw that like I was literally alone. I said I wanted to go back because I want like the real experience. It is an older ship, beautiful ship, definitely a good place. Like they give you like, I don't know if they're still going to uphold this, but like 5 free drinks, which is not bad. So I mean, hopefully they do keep that up because I do think that's a real, like that's a big deal for a lot of people. Everybody wants their drinks. Let's see, word of caution, first-time cruisers, it won't be representative of what cruising will be like once this is over. For better or worse, it's just something to keep in mind. Exactly. This is something I tell people all the time. Like, I always recommend, and I believe everybody should cruise. I believe everybody should travel. To me, I think there's nothing better than traveling, period. Whether you be on a cruise or on a plane or going to an island. But in this time, I would always say for people, if you go, don't go with the expectation that this is what cruising is actually like, because it's definitely different. How do you say this? Nailza Baby One? Babe One? Look, I apologize. I'm messing that all up, but thank you for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry I'm totally butchering this name you have here, but that's hard. Nalissa Babe One. Something like that. I apologize. Look, if you can break it down somewhere in the comments. Let's see, main idea is nuts that unvaccinated people may not do anything. To be honest, I feel like second-class citizens. Yeah, that's something that is a big worry, and I believe that is a topic that should be discussed. People can say all day that people aren't being forced to do certain things. I don't believe in forcing people to do anything, especially when it comes to their bodies, personally. I believe in the idea of what was once a second opinion that people were allowed to get by talking to their actual physician or their doctor. And now we're in the situation where people are being burned at the stake and just put to a whole another second-class citizenry for not doing something, or at least contemplating whether they were going to do something or make a big decision, like injecting themselves with something. That's something that, for me, I'm just like, I get it, but there are so many other complications that we are dealing with now because of all of this. I'm not cruising unless health and safety protocols remain in place. Ooh, okay, interesting. I want all the layers of protection. I cruised in October and had no problem with Royal Caribbean protocols. We might be done with COVID, but it's not done with us! Exclamation point. Enjoy the journey. Okay, look, if that's how you're enjoying your journey, I have no objection to that. Like I said, I personally understand that people are going to have their biases on how they feel about COVID and the situation, and you are completely entitled to it. I would never tell somebody, oh, you're wrong for wanting all this stuff to continue. I just look at everything for what it actually is. Excuse me. And I see the lives that are being affected in one way or another throughout all of this. Some people are okay with all the protocols that are being implemented. Others are like, well, I just want to live my life. And I understand both sides of it. Let me see. A comment was on the Carnival Dream this past November. It was wonderful. I bet I need to get on another older Carnival ship. Let's see. Do you answer Instagram DMs? Is email a better way? I would say email is definitely better, because I get so many messages and like spam from Instagram. And if you're not my friend, if you're not following me on Instagram, it shows up in like hidden messages, and I got to try to surf through who's not a robot and who's a real person. So yeah, email is definitely best. Looking forward to less people on Enchanted Princess on the 28th. Less people is good, but not our first cruise on the 9th. In fact, first cruise agreed, no. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. To answer your question, anti-vax where and are the part of U.S. treason. So I don't know about that comment. Anti-vax are extremists in rebellion right now. Now, I'm only going to say this like once. I'm not trying to get political by any means. It's unfortunate to see that the idea of like people that are anti-vax just because they don't want to get fourth and fifth shots or whatever, third shots and stuff, I think it's crazy to me. I feel like the people that maybe have had bad experiences and adverse reactions to vaccines before and do not want to get other vaccines, they're getting put in the category of anti-vax. I'm like, dude, I get it. If I was sent to the hospital for a vaccine, for a flu vaccine or anything like that, or something like that, I would be a little skeptical too, and understandably so. I don't blame those people, but I would never put them in the category of anti-vax. I think that whole term is just getting tossed around so loosely, and it's kind of sad. Let's see. I will book immediately if they want to get back to normal. Same here. That's what me and my family have been waiting on. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, I mean, the thing is, I agree. I look at both sides of all this, guys. And as somebody that, for example, lives in Florida, I've been going to the nightclubs and I see everything going on, like the football games and whatnot. To me, I'm just like, okay, well, if everybody in these clubs and bars aren't hospitalized and they aren't getting sick, then maybe we really got to reevaluate how all this is going down instead of closing every single bar, restaurant, and people's way to make a living. Shinebox, wow, thank you. Another super chat. You guys, let's help Jay get his drink package. I appreciate that. Wow. Look, you don't want a turned up Jay on this Wonder of the Seas cruise. By the way, I was talking to Kyle. You guys know Kyle and JoJo. They'll be on Wonder of the Seas as well. So I'll be reunited with them. We're going to have some fun. Make sure I don't get kidnapped this time. Those guys, they're wild. The wild Disney people. They're cool. Me and my husband had made plans to go on our first cruise October 2022. But because we're not vaccinated, we don't want to go on vacation. Even visiting zoo, we may not go. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully things like clear up to where you're just like, you're okay with actually going on another cruise. Gwen Laster. Is that how you say it? Laster. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. A2 Mark 57. Thank you for the $15 super chat. They said, hey, this little donation is less than the cost of a couple movies on Amazon. Thanks for the hours of free knowledge and entertainment. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure. It's why I'm here. I appreciate every single one of you guys. You keep me moving. Like, you have no idea. You really don't. By the way, guys, we're like this close to 100,000 subscribers. I'm this close to crying. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be like ecstatic. I'm gonna be so emotional that day. You have no idea. I can't begin to tell you how many vaccinations I had to have when I was in the Navy. I don't understand the refusals. Like I said, but Steve, no offense to you, but that's your personal opinion and experience with vaccines. I know people that have had situations where they've had adverse reactions. So you can't like just lay it all on one like blanket order of people that don't want to get the vaccine, because people have had different experiences, adverse reactions, and we all come from different upbringings. People forget that. I come from a different upbringing than maybe somebody that one of you. You know what I mean? Like I grew up with a very little money coming from my family. And I grew up with a family of divorce, for example. So I wasn't in I never understood what relationships were like. And people would say I'm wrong because I didn't get married at 22, 23. I'm just using this as an example, but it's a big example because you got to understand that people are from different places, different walks of life, especially here in the United States. It's a big melting pot of people from all over the world with different cultures, different beliefs. So because you believe in something doesn't necessarily mean that it should be a blanket order and something that everybody should believe in just because the TV is telling you that you need to do it. That's my take on the situation. Again, I'm not trying to get political. You know what I mean? So I look at it from what it is. Me traveling, I've been around so many people that have certain beliefs, and that's understandable. Who am I to tell them that they're wrong? And that's something I wish people would really start to understand. Jay Blelvins, thank you for the $10 super chat. Me and my family have cruised many times, but stopped when COVID protocols were put in place. Will not cruise again until all regulations are gone. We'll book ASAP when all is back to normal. I don't blame you. I mean, obviously, everybody wants their cruise experience. They want their cruise how they want their cruise. So I know I sound like a broken record saying it, but it's normal and it's expected. By the way, guys, we got 250 people here. Make sure you hit that like button. We need to get to 300 likes. Let's see. Anti-vax and anti-mandate is not the same thing. I agree. Yeah. But I hate that terms are being thrown around so loosely. That's what bothers me. You know, people call me anti-vax. I'm like, dude, I'm vaccinated. Will I get the booster? I'd rather not. Personally, I will if I have to, because at some point, in order for me to do the things that I love to do, I'm pretty much forced to do it. I don't believe in that. But again, everybody has their own opinions and beliefs on things, and technically nobody is wrong. You deserve the love, man. Oh, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. When will cruise ships start to go out of New York? Whenever they relax on the policies over there. Or isn't there a ship going out of, is it New York and New Jersey? There's an NCL ship out of New York, isn't there? Maybe somebody quote me if I'm wrong. There's so many ships sailing right now. I thought there was a ship sailing out of New York. I mean, because think about it. Like, there's got to be. They allowed the Virgin ship to go over there for that crazy wild party that they had before the inaugural sailing. I should have flew out to that. Justin has to do a Carlton when he reaches 100,000 while eating Oreo cheesecake. If I'm on an NCL ship when that happens, then yeah, definitely. Because this is a new vaccine, we are the research. It does not make it out of anti-vaxxer because you do of trust of this unproven vaccine. Oh, I get what you're trying to say. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. People are gonna feel how they're gonna feel about the vaccine. Like I said, I just hate the term anti-vaxxers getting thrown around so easily and so loosely, especially when you look at all the data of what's happened since vaccines have been implemented. There's been so many different things and so much uncertainty. So I don't blame people. I don't. Although we would take a vacation, but there's still stuff in it that we have allergic reactions, and that can kill us. That is why we don't have a vacation. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just wish people would understand that. It's not just, I don't want to take the vaccine because I only care about myself. It's not one of those situations. It really isn't. Let me see. When will they stop requiring testing? It's hard to say. Like I said, I mean, for me, the biggest date to look out for would be March 1st. Because that is going to be the union of address here in the United States. President Biden is going to be talking about a bunch of topics, but I guess it's not off the table as of yet, considering everything that's going on in Europe and everything going on right now and the decline of Omicron, that potentially we could see some easing of restrictions. NCL sailing out of New York. Yeah, like I said, which ship? Let's see. I wanted to take a retirement celebration cruise on the Carnival celebration in November, but I think I'll hold off till 2023. Oh, you should. You should not. I'm going to be on there. I'm going to be on that cruise. I can't wait to get back on like another Carnival ship, especially the newer ones. I had Mardi Gras, hands down, my favorite ship. Dinner calls, Rocco and Jay. Oh, well, enjoy your dinner. And I appreciate the super chat. A2 Mark 57. Appreciate you. Thank you. Excuse me. We will see vaccine passports. It's now a necessity. Too many vaccine card frauds. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. And vaccine passport's a little bit of a stretch at this point. Like, to me, it has to be justified. I don't see it happening. Not right now. I mean, it would just cause more, unfortunately, more people would just be more divided. You know, especially in this country, considering everything that's happening, and especially when you, like I said, when you have places like over in Europe that are, there are some countries that are getting rid of the vaccine protocols and the COVID protocols. There's going to be there's even bigger arguments now against why people maybe shouldn't be thinking about vaccine passports and the booster shots. It's just increasing the argument just looking at the numbers, and that's understandable. I've always said if people want to respect your opinion and beliefs, then you need to respect theirs. Yeah, I agree. It's crazy what a time that we're living in, but it just shows that, and I'm not saying this is any of you guys, but to me, it just shows the mental toll that all this has taken on people. And it really is sad to see. The only way I will ever cruise again, if all testing mandates and masks are removed, it is now Mexico is better. I know, I can't wait to get to Mexico. I'm so excited. Going to Playa del Carmen. I'll be in Cancun for one day for the dentist, and I'm taking the bus. It's called the ADO. It's like a $15 bus ride, which is, it's a newer bus too, over to Playa del Carmen. This is the mainland over next to Cozumel. Might go do some scuba diving while I'm there too. Judith, is it Judith Placido? Thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. She said, thanks, Jay. No, thank you. You've just got me a step closer to the drink package. It might be happening now. NCL Breakaway is going out of NYC. Thank you so much for the clarification. I appreciate that. Question, what do you think the best place to get information on rules for European river cruises or Mediterranean cruises? That is a good question. Like you talking about just in terms of like COVID protocols, obviously I would naturally just tell you to refer to the website alone because things are changing so much. But if you're looking at general rules, obviously look at the country, excuse me, look at the country in which the ship is sailing out of. Purple Green, thank you for all you do. No, thank you for tuning in. Your support is more than appreciated. You have no idea. Ecstasy and sensation are up for grabs, not paradise. Yeah, no, I didn't say that. Maybe that's Robin. Maybe you're not talking to me. But yeah. Let's see. You said Carnival ships party a lot. I will soon be joining the Carnival Dream as a drummer. What can you tell me about the party culture on Carnival ships? It always, like, one thing I say about when it comes to party ships, quote unquote, is it does depend on the ship. Right? But with Carnival ships, yes, there tend to be a lot more people that want to party. Now, during this COVID era, not so much. Yes, there are still crew bars that are open and whatnot. But what exactly do you want to know about, like, the partying? You want to know, like, what the do's and don'ts? Or what do you want? Because it does honestly depend on your personality and how you are. Are you a social butterfly? Are you, are you young? Are you, I don't know. Just give me some details. Many places in Mexico mandate masks, even if you check your temperatures when you enter a restaurant. I mean, even when I was there, they still had those things that were implemented. Well, technically they were, but a lot of places just weren't even bothered with it, to be honest with you. Like, even when I was in Cozumel, there was a masking mandate, but I never got bothered for not wearing a mask. Except, obviously, I didn't go out of my way to not wear one. I wore one indoors. But a lot of places just didn't care. Excuse me. Testing will probably not go away soon because the virus is not gone. And folks would sue if caught testing. If testing was removed. Too many folks are sue happy. Yeah. Well, this is America. It's the sue capital of the world. It's a lawsuit capital of the world, hands down. Now let's see. Temperature checks are completely useless. Never had a temperature that read high when I had COVID. Yeah, I hear that a lot, actually. Yeah, that's very true, Scott. Let me see here, or Tom. I'll be very happy once all the protocols go down. It means the world is going in the right direction and that natural immunity is there. God bless planet Earth. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see some places are starting to recognize natural immunity as well. Given, obviously, I'm not a doctor, not a scientist, but I believe that all this, you have to look at everything for what it actually is. I mean, we've just been shoved down our throat, vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. Meanwhile, cases have gone up. We've still seen outbreaks and stuff. And given, I understand science changes and things change. However, I believe everything should be looked at for what it is, not just vaccines. Excuse me. Enjoy the journey. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Enjoy Wonder of the Seas. Can't wait to my turn. Here's a little something towards your drink package. Thank you. Look, I don't know if it's a good idea if I should get the drink package. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I probably will, though. Stay away from the YCs, the youth counselors. Yes, they're trouble. That's my advice. Yeah, I agree. If anybody's working on ships, stay away from the youth counselors. We need the places that we visit to be safe. I agree. For themselves more than for us, of course. But we have moral duty to turn up as safe as we can to manage on their behalf. Can't make that, stay home. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, obviously, I'm somebody that's going to follow the rules and regulations. You're never going to see me arguing with somebody that is just trying to do their job. I won't do it. But if they decide to lax up, I'm not going to complain either, personally. I will wait to start back cruising, maybe end of the year. Well, hopefully things get better by that point in time. I hope they change the testing and masking for Alaska cruise on Royal Caribbean in June. I know. I want to go on an Alaskan cruise so badly. I think that's probably in the cards for me sometime this year. I just don't know what ship yet. Not sure. Not sure yet. What cruise lines and cruise ship do you recommend for a first-time cruiser? Obviously, it depends on your personal preference. I always would recommend, especially now, Carnival, definitely a newer Carnival ship. But it just depends on the kind of person you are and honestly how much money you have. Are you looking for something luxurious or something kind of like mid-tier? Maybe you could go with a princess or a celebrity. If you're looking for like something just a general cruise, obviously a Royal Caribbean Carnival. And depending on the ship, NCL would do you justice. It just depends on what you're looking for. Let's see, I want to know how crazy the crew parties get. I'm a social butterfly for sure. Kelvin. Okay, for sure, and I'm looking forward to getting to know my band and crew. Oh, you definitely will. I gigged a lot in Asia, and I'm sure used to partying a lot. Oh, wow. Okay, well, say no more. It does depend on the ship, but trust me, there's a party if you are looking for it. I'll tell you that. Between probably the crew parties or the crew bar and then like the cabin parties, those get a little wild. So it just depends on what your tolerance is. If you're somebody that's looking to get in a little bit of trouble, you know what I mean? You'll definitely find it there. Are you American? Because if you are, that's going to give you some other cool points too. Let's see. What cruise line? We're just honestly really doesn't matter now I think about it. Everybody loves foreign people. When you're talking about a cruise ship where everybody's from different parts of the world, you'll be good. Trust me. Vaccine or not, one of the simplest things people can do to help combat the spread of any virus is to wash their hands, cover their coughs and sneezes. I agree. That's something we should have been doing long before this. Who's that, LM? You're late? No, it's unacceptable. No, I'm kidding. Welcome to the live stream. By the way, guys, we're almost at 300 likes. If you can hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. Jay, when are you going to do a group cruise? Whenever all this is probably over at this point. I want to be able to enjoy and see everybody's faces whenever I do a group cruise, so I'm probably going to wait, to be honest, at this point. We'll see. Maybe, who knows, by the time summer rolls around, things will be open back up, back to normal. We can start planning. Let's see. Going on the Carnival Magic in March. Can't wait. I need to get on like an older Carnival ship. I wanted to see the differences, especially now between the Mardi Gras and the older ships like of course, the Dream or I don't know. I don't know what ship I'd jump on yet. What cruise line? Oh, here, I think we already passed that one. A second, got a little lost in the sauce here. Norwegian is goof. Oh, you mean good for Alaska? I've heard that. I don't know what ship. I'd probably get on a princess ship for my first time sailing to Alaska. Every evening or good night in advance, Mr. J. I like that, Mr. J. You sound like you have a cold. Take care. No, I did have a cold. This is me coming down from it. I'm just a little like dehydrated, mouth is dry, and just kind of coughing up whatever is left. But other than that, I'm good. As long as Florida doesn't get back to 28 degrees again. Let me see. Looking on YouTube for any Carnival reviews, recommendations. I mean, I did plenty of Carnival reviews. I did for the Mardi Gras. I would just say especially the ship that you might be sailing on. Just type in that ship, or type in whatever you're sailing on. I don't know, the Panorama. Look at just type in Carnival Panorama review. I guaranteed to find it. If you don't find it on YouTube, you'll find somebody that has done a blog about it. If not, you can go check out the forums on Facebook. There's plenty of groups just for every single ship. Literally every ship. Let's see. Head on the Paradise. She will be leaving down the street from your house. Yeah, I know. Eventually, or the Elation is going out of Port Canaveral. Yeah, I mean, I got my pick, honestly. It's no problem for me to get to Port Canaveral, down the street here from Tampa, or to go out of Miami. So, Let me see. May I ask what you were thinking of the MSC? I definitely have my quarrels. I have my quarrels with my issues with MSC for sure. MSC is an interesting. I do believe that they have like they have a lot of work to do for sure. But MSC, it looks like I believe that they definitely have some room to grow and easily be one of the nicest cruise lines or best cruise lines out there. NCL has a mask update coming out tomorrow. Really? Oh, how did I miss that? I'll have to check into that. If that's the case, I'll definitely talk about it tomorrow for the cruise news. Have you been on a celebrity cruise line? I have not. How did you like it there? I have not. I've heard good things. I've heard really good things. There's always the big celebrity versus princess battle, but I've definitely heard some great things. Emerald Games. Hi, I just subbed. I appreciate that. One step closer to 100K. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. What's your favorite drink? Even when you don't get one, even when you don't get the drink package. When I'm traveling, especially if I'm going to someplace tropical, definitely a pina colada. Let's see, MSC staff can be rude and the males, hold on, egotistical. Really? I mean, I guess I didn't have that. I didn't feel that. Maybe because when I went on the MSC Meraviglia, a lot of the crew recognized me from my channel and stuff, and I don't know, they seem to be pretty nice. I could see where you could get that from, but that's any cruise ship. I guess it just depends on who you deal with, to be honest. Earned an all expenses paid trip to Alaska on Royal Caribbean's Quantum of the Seas in July. Have high hopes that most protocols will be dropped by then. I hope so. I hope so. I got a friend, a really good friend of mine that I've known for years. She's literally like the model. She's a dancer, but she's like the model girl for Royal Caribbean. Like on all their editions, they have a picture of her. Her name's Gabby, and she's the coolest person ever. But she'll be on the Quantum, so I might jump on that for the Alaskan cruise. Who knows? I might go to Alaska twice. I love Alaska. Just haven't been on a cruise yet. I got you on the pina coladas. Oh, I love it. I'd appreciate that. That'd be nice. Then I'd get you back on whatever drink you'd like. Let's see here. Let me catch back up with these comments. Oh, I think we're all caught up. What's the conversation? Hold on. What's his conversation has been missing is the hospital staff community impact of hospitalizations excuse me, due to COVID. They're 97% unvaccinated. It's a significant issue. I think it depends on what hospital you're talking about. As somebody that spent like the past couple months in and out of hospitals, COVID wards, having sisters that work in COVID wards and nurses and nieces, it varies. It really does. And I get it. Like a lot of people can talk about this stuff, but you even have the CDC coming out and saying, Rochelle Walensky, 75% of the people that have died and been hospitalized from COVID had other issues. That's something that you absolutely have to take into account. There are people that go to the hospital for one thing, and next thing you know, they end up having COVID. You know what I mean? So some of that stuff has to be taken with a grain of salt. I'm on the dream. There was always a party. I like it. Oh, Martine Joseph. Wow, thank you for the $15 super chat. I just want to say hello, Jay. It has been a while since I catch your live. Well, I appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you. We got 3 minutes left. Cunard announces a new ship ship tomorrow on their channel. Oh, do you know what time? I gotta look into that. I'm gonna keep all that in mind. So NCL has some new new protocols that are coming out tomorrow, and then Cunard. I'm gonna write that down and look at it for tomorrow morning. Hopefully it'll be by the time I wake up and put my video together, it'll have come out. So we'll see. Well, guys, we got 2 more minutes left. Last minute questions. After this, I gotta go to practice, do some breakdance and stuff. I got a breakdance competition in Mexico in Playa del Carmen next week, or this week actually, on this weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. Have you ever cruised on Oceania? I have not. Do I look like I have Oceania money? No, I wish. A man can dream one day. I cruised on cruised on older ships when they were Renaissance cruisers. I love the similar ship for intensive style. No, I've heard good things. I got a friend of mine that's a cruise director on Oceania Cruises. He said it's amazing. But he's like, when you got people that are paying $100,000 plus for a cruise, a little out of my budget, personally. YouTube pays well, but not that well. 40th anniversary in August. Would like to go on a cruise, but won't be going if vaccine requirements still going. Yeah, like I said, people are definitely going to feel a certain way, and it's understandable. We need to get Justin on Celebrity Cruise. I have him battle Kate in a dance battle. I know. I need to get on the Beyond. I did get to see the ship when it was at the shipyard over in Saint-Nazaire, France. I might have to jump on that ship, bite the bullet, and pay for it. Keep the chat. Ship life 12:58. Not sure if it's UK time or US time. I'll look at it after this before I head over to practice, see if I can get some information. Do we know the capacity of Royal Caribbean is filling the ships selling to these days? I thought it was 60%. I wonder what they're gonna do for Wonder of the Seas. They may go ahead and push to 70% just because it's obviously the inaugural sailing, but I guess we'll have to see. Look at Tom. Need that Diane money. Diane's one of our moderators, and she's like filthy rich, so I need to get like her. What was your favorite cruise ship? Mardi Gras, for sure. Mardi Gras. Oh, what's that? Michelle Southern. Thank you for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. Just sending some love. Thanks for a great conversation. Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in, as usual. So yeah. Anyway, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Like I said, I got a pretty serious practice tonight, and on top of that, I'm seeing my video here, guys. I forgot to turn off my heat. As you can see, I'm sweating, which I'm a little embarrassed about. I apologize. I forgot to turn off my heat before this live stream because I was a little cold, and now look at me, sweating all over the place. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap this video up. I have another video coming out in the morning that is not cruise news related because I'm trying to get back to like the ship life stories and everything. And then I'll also be putting out the news sometime later on in the day. But I appreciate all you guys. On your way out, of course, hit that like button. And for those that have not subscribed, make sure you do so already. And I'll see you guys very soon, next week, all right? And I might do a live stream while I'm out in Mexico too, if you guys want me to. Just let me know in the comments and I'll read it later. But I'll see you guys soon, all right? Take care.